Here we go. Stick the old Stamford Bridge sign in the tree. Stamford tree, everyone's happy. Chelsea win 2-1 at home to Aston Villa. Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for 6 things that we learned from Chelsea 2, Aston Villa 1. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who turned up for my live stream last night. I didn't go to the game. Was that a nervy ending to the game? 2-1 Chelsea. At the moment, when we're winning by 1 goal, I can't be confident. I just can't be. And sadly, we're going to start with a red box in this 6 things we learnt video, but before we get into that, the majority of people that watch these videos are not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel. So, as someone who makes these videos and somehow manages to make a living from doing so, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss a video. So I hate to start on a bad note, but I mean, Chelsea, we gotta get a little bit more defensively sound, haven't we? The goal that went in, as much as I always love to go on about how brilliant Reece James is, he was just in the middle of nowhere for the goal, to be honest, and I don't want to just single out Reece James as the issue, but John McGinn at stages in the game yesterday was getting far too much space to make passes. He was stringing things together. El Mohammadi looked very useful going forward on the right. Matthew Targett looked very useful going forward on the left for Aston Villa. It wasn't a bad performance from the away side. Credit where credit is due. I wanted to start with the red because there were plenty of positives from Chelsea's performance last night, but dealing with crosses into the box yet again is Chelsea's Achilles heel, and it doesn't matter how many games we play, we need to fix that. At the end of the day, we beat a side who are newly promoted by 1 goal, and I like to be a voice of positivity, so we will get into some big positives in a moment, but again, that heart rate moments towards the end of the game, the save from Kepa, I've not given Kepa a green box in this video because I've done that for the last 2 videos, but I do want to say, Kepa yet again wins Chelsea the game. It was a brilliant save to deny Douglas Luiz with the header to get Chelsea the 3 points at the end, but we shouldn't really be in that position if we can try and cut out some of these defensive errors that lead to goals. It was a ball in, and then it pretty much just hit Trezeguet's knee and rolls into the back of the net, and it was because Reece James wasn't attacking the ball. When we're defending balls that come into the box, they need to be attacked the same way that Tammy Abraham would go and attack a ball going forward. But that being said, we moved straight away from the Reds. To be honest, I'm wearing a red shirt today. I thought I'd just wear like a white t-shirt, red shirt. It's a bit cold in London, so it's kind of like you gotta do what you gotta do to stay warm instead of just whacking the heating on full blast for the full 24 hours. But first green box of the day, he was pretty much most people's man of the match. I would argue that there are other players as well. Tammy Abraham, back in the side, gets a headed goal against the keeper that was yet again in inspired form. Tom Heaton, brilliant yesterday for Aston Villa, but Tammy Abraham gets the ball into the back of the net from Reece James's cross yet again. Reece James wins all of his tackles. Brilliant crossing into the box as well, and I love it when he drifts into that central position, and you can see the chemistry, particularly between these young players. Yet again, yesterday's goals for Chelsea were made in the academy. Both the goal and the assist both times. Tammy gets the first one and then assists Mason for the second. And what I really liked about Tammy yesterday is quite clearly he was playing through pain, which was what Frank Lampard was saying before the match. It wasn't a muscular injury as such. It wasn't an injury of any impacts on the bone, but it was a bruise on his hip from what I understand, which again, I guess you could say it kind of does affect the bone, but it's one of those injuries where it's just very painful, and the fact that Tammy was so eager and so keen to start against his former club just shows how hungry this kid is. And the header again, it's just showing how many different types of goals he can score. He's an outlet in the air. He's good from outside the box from what we've seen from him as well, and he can also hold the ball up. The assist for Mason Mount's goal, which we will just put on the screen now as box number 3. Mason Mount is point number 3. The assist as well, extremely smart. He's aware of where all of his teammates are around him. He knows when to make the runs. One thing I will say is that I think Tammy needs to be slightly more differentiating with his movement at times. There were times in the early stages of the first half where Azpilicueta had the ball in bucket loads of space down the left-hand side, and Tammy was kind of sandwiched between the 2 Aston Villa centre-halves, and they were pretty big centre-halves, so when the ball was coming in, it was kind of just going into the one space that Tammy was stood in, as opposed to Tammy making a run. So what I'd have liked to have seen a bit more of from Tammy, which again, this is just me acknowledging that this kid has got the capabilities, he's got the ability to do this. It would be nice to just see him making a few diagonal runs every once in a while, to do what Didier Drogba used to do, where he would make a run, get a touch with his back to the goal and then somehow turn and score. If Tammy can start adding that different dynamic to his game, then, I mean, we're going to be talking about this kid as England striker as well. Obviously, there's Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford that have got things to say about that. Tammy Abraham, yet again, scoring for Chelsea. Something you love to see. It was a good header. Reece James with the assist. And we move into player number 3, box number 3, Mason Mount. This kid gets so much flipping hatred from some segments of the Chelsea fan base who just don't seem to get it. And I think that everybody, well, I say everybody, it certainly isn't everybody. The majority of people, particularly the Stamford Bridge match-going fans, absolutely adore Mason Mount. We see everything that he is. He's proper Chelsea. He's been there since he was 7 or 8 years old. We saw yet again that industrious work rate, which is so essential in the Frank Lampard pressing system. Mason Mount, he does his best work when he doesn't have the ball. He's always chasing players down. He's always the furthest up the pitch, making sure he's forcing the Aston Villa players last night to make a long pass, in which case Zuma and Christensen were just monstrous at the back for the majority of the game yesterday for Chelsea. And it's Mason Mount's pressure and his running and his ability to just not stop no matter what minute of the game it is that I think is so essential to the success of this Chelsea team. And when he doesn't play, we see that it's a bit slow. Mason Mount ups the speed of the game for Chelsea, but the one thing that we need to talk about from yesterday was the finish. It was, if you think about it, it's one of those beautiful goals and one of those beautiful moments where Tammy does what all good strikers do. And sometimes when your back's to goal, the best thing to do isn't to try and bring it down yourself and try and turn the defender and shoot. When you see your teammate closing in, you could also say as well, it's a little bit Frank Lampard-esque. You've got the central attacking midfielder, the number 10, running in to support the striker. Tammy lays it off and it's a perfect volley from Mason Mount. We're talking about Tom Heaton yesterday, who was he was having a Ben Foster kind of game really. He just turned up last night, did Tom Heaton. No saving that one. Mason has managed to get his foot over the ball enough to rifle it into the back of the net. And it's at moments like that, you know, people might want to criticise Mason for his passing. Sometimes people say he hits the ball too hard, and positionally sometimes he might be all over the place and he gets a bit lost in games. But you cannot deny Mason Mount has got a phenomenal technique of striking the ball. He almost scored the free kick against Man City to replicate the one that we saw him do when he was trying to replicate Ronaldo, hitting the valve, as I commented on his Instagram post last night. Brilliant finish from Mason Mount. And it's not just that, the work rate was excellent as well. I thought in the first half, he didn't have his best game, but he came to life in the second half, won it for Chelsea, and 100% deserves a green box in this 6 Things We Learned video. So box number 4, and some people again last night criticised this man's performance, and I couldn't see how Willian's performance could have been criticised last night. He gave the ball away a few times. What we get from Willian at times, and again, the polarity in his performances frustrates me a little bit, because one week and one game he does this and he does it brilliantly. The next game, he doesn't even do it at all, which is really frustrating. Willian's work rate last night was absolutely instrumental in everything that Chelsea did. He was getting back to win the ball. Aston Villa at times, they were really sat back deep, and then eventually they would start to shove like 4 or 5 men going forward in a press. Willian was extremely press resistant. We saw it last night. He got back, won the ball, started attacks for Chelsea. Yes, he did give it away a few times, but it's something that we've come to expect from a Willian performance over the years at Chelsea. Not every pass is going to find its man. There will be some mistakes that you just want to like hit yourself on the side of the head and think like, well, you can do that, but why can't you do this? It's kind of self-explanatory. And then the free kick. I mean, check out my reaction on my stream. Go on, Willie. Go on. How has he saved that? Says it all really, doesn't it, to be fair? It was so flipping close. Tom Heaton's not saving that every time he tries. It was a phenomenal save from Heaton. Credit where credit is due. Aston Villa's goalkeeper last night showing why he probably is pushing Jordan Pickford for England's #1 spot at this moment. It was very, very good performance from Willian. I think, again, the cross and the timing of the cross to knock it down to Abraham, who then left it for Mason Mount, was excellent. And Willian yesterday really impressed me. And it's again... Go on, Willie. Go on. How has he saved that? Performance and this kind of effort level from Willian every time he stepped out on the pitch, I personally wouldn't want to sell him. I've said this before, but it's the inconsistencies with Willian's performances which make it very clear that Chelsea will be strengthening in the winger positions come January. If the appeal is lifted, we're going to hear today, so there probably will be a second video this afternoon. We should hear about the appeal. Hopefully, it is lifted the ban is no more and we can sign players in January. But Willian, will he sign a new Chelsea contract? Do you want him to sign a new Chelsea contract? Let me know in the comments down below. I think someone's at my front door. Give me a sec. Hey mate, you alright? Yeah, she's my girlfriend, but she's at work. Top man, thank you, have a good one. Tilda's got a parcel. Shall I open it? No. So where were we? I think we finished box number 4. Let's move on to box number 5. And sadly, I'm going to have to give a yellow box. And again, we won 2-1 yesterday. We got 3 points. That was the only thing that mattered last night. I said it in the preview. When you lose 2 Premier League games, you don't care about the nature of the result. You don't care if it comes or how it comes. It just needs to flip and arrive. Do you know what I mean? Chelsea last night, we created so many opportunities. But again, at times, we did look as though we were struggling to play the final ball and make it an incisive pass to give clear opportunities to the forward players. And I think the reason I've given this a yellow box is because Chelsea do need to be more clinical. If we look back to earlier games this season where we drew against Leicester, we drew against Sheffield United, Chelsea do create opportunities. When you've got players like Reece James who have the crossing ability that he does. Azpilicueta was very good, I thought, last night going forward too. And again, bringing all of the different players into this conversation, I thought Pulisic's movement last night was excellent as well. Some people kind of think he didn't do very much, but what we're seeing from Pulisic now is the ability that, again, it's kind of Hazard-esque, where he can just ghost around the back of players. He makes the movement, his touches are very good, and Pulisic is getting better game by game in my opinion, and it's not just when he scores goals and gets assists that we're talking about Christian Pulisic's good performances, which I really rate. At times yesterday, I was so flipping nervous, and it comes right back to that red box again, where every time we give away a set piece, every time the ball goes into the box in the air, I worry, I fear for how we're going to defend it. And I think when this Chelsea team are creating so many opportunities, yes, we came up against an inspired goalkeeper yesterday, but we've got to be more clinical. I think we need to play more incisive passes, more passes that are kind of 50-50, and then the striker needs to gamble, or Pulisic needs to gamble with a run, or Willian needs to do so, or Mount needs to do so. I can't really pinpoint exactly where that would come from, but I do feel as though with Chelsea's susceptibility to defensive errors, we do need to find more incisive passes into the box and therefore be more clinical in front of goal. I know that sounds like I've been overly negative there, but it's a yellow for a reason, because it's not bad because we won the game. No one can say, oh, we should have scored more, and then be frustrated that you got a win in what was a very tight Premier League encounter. But moving forward, if we're looking for this Chelsea team to improve, clinicalness in front of goal and with final passes will be 100% key. So box number 6, we're going to finish off with another individual player. It was Mateo Kovacic. Yet again, no assist, no goal, but the work rate of this man and his ability on the ball, he was absolutely brilliant last night in front of the defence for Chelsea. I want to see him get forward a lot more as well, but when Mason Mount puts in second half performances the way that he did, you can kind of justify, which is a weird thing to suggest, Jorginho not being in the team. So I think it was a very good decision from Frank Lampard to have Kante and Kovacic in that pivot. I thought Kante was good as well, but the improvement from Kovacic, if you take a look at the screenshot on the screen right now, in every single department, Mateo Kovacic has leveled up his game from last season. And at this moment in time, he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. You know, people say Kevin De Bruyne, 2 different players in different positions with 2 different roles. Mateo Kovacic, everything he's doing right now, he's doing it with class. He left absolutely nothing to be questioned for on that pitch last night. He was working and fighting for every ball, running around. He was getting clattered as well a couple of times. I know I've mentioned it quite a lot in recent weeks, but I really do not think that we should underestimate the serious impact that Mateo Kovacic's improvement and performances have had on this Chelsea team. Great result last night. And it would be very unfair of me to not mention the beauty that was the captain, leader, legend banner coming out with Super John Terry 26 all around the stadium. It was kind of an understated entrance from John. He just came in, sat straight down in the dugout. But at the end of the game, everyone's happy. Chelsea have got 3 points. He's walking around the pitch clapping, and it was just beautiful to see. The embrace with Jody, the embrace with Frank Lampard, and also the handshake with Kovacic. And I think there was actually something wrong with his finger or his hand from actually before that. It wasn't John Terry's handshake that's broken Kovacic's finger. I don't think his finger is broken, but it was just a funny little moment. Beautiful moments at the end of the game. Chelsea get the job done. We go to Everton at the weekend, who I'm just going to check my phone now. It's currently 11:39. And if Marco Silva's not been sacked, I'm just absolutely mind blown, to be honest, because he should be sacked. Let's not lie. I'd actually quite like him to be there at the weekend, but it would just be typical Everton to turn up and just turn into Brazil to play Chelsea at the weekend. He's not been sacked yet. I'm sure it's imminent, and I'm sure by the time this video's uploaded, there'll be some either statement of confidence or he'll be sacked by Everton. But Everton away at the weekend, never an easy fixture. Chelsea are going to have to be at their best. Fortunately, we've been a lot better away from home this season than we have been at home. So see some of you guys there. It's an early kickoff. Make sure you check the trains. Make sure you check the roads. Lawrence and I will be heading up super early. Then we might be going up to Scotland on Sunday. I'm still kind of deciding if I'm going to do it for a multitude of reasons, but that is that. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to the George Benson Football channel if you haven't already. Might see you guys later for an upbeat, positive video if the ban is overturned. And if it isn't overturned, I might just make another video where I'm sulking, but stay tuned for that one. Subscribe if you haven't already. That's the third time I've said it. I'm just going to shut up. I'll see you all later. Come on, you Blues.